Hey guys, my name's Trish and welcome to my UC Diary. So I was working on a video where I was discussing my takedown surgery, my ileostomy takedown surgery, and then I realized that there was actually something else I really wanted to talk about. I was on Facebook and one of my friends had posted something about autoimmune diseases and the diagnostic process for that. And it really spoke to me, and it was something that really reminded me of the hardship that people can face in regards to being actually diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. So I am doing an impromptu video first that will touch on that topic and kind of what I went through. Now, this was something that I had recently discussed with someone pretty close to me, and had just mentioned I didn't realize how sick I was for so long. I had, started feeling, well, here, let me go back. Let's go back to when I was a child. I was never sick as a kid. I would pretend to be sick to get out of school so that I could read the book that I wanted or so that I could play pretend whenever I wanted. But other than that, I never really got sick. And as I grew older, I never really got sick, but probably starting around my junior or senior year of high school, I think it was around my junior year of high school, I started getting stomach viruses a lot, and it was something I'd never had. I had always had, I don't know what the proper term for it is, but I feel like in some way everybody kind of has this, but I had a fear of throwing up. I don't think anyone really enjoys throwing up, but I had this intense disabling fear. If I was going to throw up, I got extremely panicked and anxious, which to me again is not completely abnormal. So anyway, but I started getting a lot of stomach viruses at that time. And, it was just chalked up to germs. There's just a lot of germs in the school. And, kids had always gotten sick like that, but I had always been kind of able to dodge it. But all of a sudden, I just wasn't able to dodge it anymore. Then, when I started college, after I had graduated high school, I went into college. And I remember starting to feel just different. Like, I started feeling run down a lot. I didn't have as much energy as I used to, and so again, when you'd go to the doctor, it was chalked up to life changes, stress. You're not as active as you used to because you're not doing track anymore. But I mean, at the same token, I was still playing soccer, so I don't know. But anyway, someone who's not even hit 20 should be a ball of energy, and I was not. And I really started to notice changes in my body after I had my first daughter. I was 22 years old, and I had a great pregnancy, easy peasy pregnancy, and it was, it was fine. It was textbook. It's what a pregnancy should be. But I, and I did really good after the pregnancy, but it was maybe when my daughter turned 1, around that time, I started getting just these feelings of being tired. And it wasn't like, oh, let's take a nap and you'll feel better, just take a power nap. It didn't help. It made it worse. I was always tired. And so it was, oh, you're anemic, oh, you're just a single mom. There was always a reason, but never a proper diagnosis. It was your anxiety, it's depression, it's being a single mom, it's this, that. It was everything but what was actually happening. And then it was also, I started feeling, I'd always been able to eat anything without any issue. I could eat 15 jalapeno peppers. Not that I would, but I mean, I could eat, well, not jalapeno, but 15 hot peppers and be fine. I could eat hot salsa, fine. And I didn't eat that stuff a lot, but I'm just saying I could if I wanted to, and I wouldn't have had any issue. But I started noticing if I would even have really mild seasoned foods, there were just certain foods that I started noticing would trigger me to not feel very good. I would have indigestion, as they called it. It was just indigestion. But I remember this deep burning feeling in me, and they said that it was just heartburn probably, and just to eat Tums, which never helped. None of that ever helped. And again, it was just chalked up to stress. They kept saying it's stress. You know, you just started a new job, you're a single mom, you're in school, this, that, and the other. So I let it go. And, you know, there would be times that it would be really bad, and then times that it would just go away. And so for me, even, I was like, well, maybe it is stress. Maybe I'm just coping with things better now, and maybe that's why it's gone away. And I remember I got married, and I remember having a miscarriage, and that's really when my health took a turn. I took a turn, and I just remember, you know, I never felt the same after that. I felt very sick all the time after that, and very overwhelmed. And yes, I was stressed, but that's not what was happening in my body. And I got pregnant again. I had a really, really difficult pregnancy, and I was sick the entire time. And I remember being on bed rest the last 2 months. I think it was the last 2 months of my pregnancy, because I was so sick. But they could never pinpoint or never tell me what it was. And so I had that baby in March, and then by June, so within a few months, I was so sick that I couldn't eat. If I tried to eat, my throat would tighten up, and food actually wouldn't go down. I mean, my body was, stop, don't eat. And I mean, it was everything. And I got really sick. And so finally I said, you know, something's not right. This is not stress. This is not normal. And I went to this doctor, and I told them, I said, I've had diarrhea all the time. I can't eat, but I still have diarrhea. And I said, if I don't eat and everything's out, my body still, I was like, it's like having a stomach bug that won't go away. And I said, this is not stress. Don't tell me it's stress. And so they referred me to a gastroenterologist. And thank goodness for the nurse that I saw, because she looked at me and she said, no, this is not stress. You have an inflammatory bowel disease. And I remember thinking, wow, okay, never heard of this, but this is an answer. And there's some relief in that, because then you know what you're fighting, you know what you're up against. And so she, did some testing, and she says, I really believe that you have either ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. She said, I am going to send you to a specialist to have a colonoscopy so that we can determine which inflammatory bowel disease you have. She said, because I am confident that that is what is happening here. And so I went to a doctor and did the colonoscopy, and it was inflammatory bowel disease. It was ulcerative colitis, and it was quite severe. And so I have talked about in other videos, kind of the battle I went through with treatments, and how, even once I got the answer, the doctor that I was with, even though he was able to provide to me what I was actually suffering from, he really wasn't the right doctor to help me overcome it. He didn't, we conflicted on treatments. There were treatments I wanted to try, or treatments I told him that really weren't working. They were moving at a snail's pace, and that was not acceptable for me. I'm a mother of two. I don't have time to waste battling something when there's something else out there that should work better. So, skipping through all of that, ultimately I did change doctors after several years, and found a doctor who immediately took action and took control, who told me from the get-go that unfortunately my ulcerative colitis was so far gone that I would probably just need to end up having surgery, but that we were going to try the biologic medications to see if that did work. And so we did do the biologics for several months, did not work, and to be honest, I grew very tired of giving myself shots if it was just counterproductive. I'll give myself a shot if I'm getting better, but I was not getting better. Initially, I felt like I was, because I was so elated over the fact that I had a doctor who was actually taking care of me. But then once it grew into not, once I realized that it was just, it was just in my head, and that physically my body was still not doing well, I did the surgeries, and I've had now both surgeries. I had the ileostomy and the ileostomy takedown, to where I just have the J pouch functionality now, which I will cover in another video, so we're not going to touch on that. But anyway, what I wanted to discuss here is that listen to your body and be forceful with your health. It is not rude, and it is not out of line for you to ask questions. And if you are talking to a provider who is not willing to answer your questions, or who calls you out on asking questions, then you are with the wrong provider, and you do need to find another provider. I know that some people get worried on certain insurances that they're going to get flagged for doctor shopping. Be vocal with your insurance company about what is happening. Be vocal with your providers about what is happening. Do not let your health go to the wayside because you have fears of any sort. Be bold. Ask questions. And if a doctor tells you that it's just stress, but you feel like there is something more going on, you have every right to get a second opinion. So definitely, I'm very big on taking control of your health. Had I not done that, I don't know if I would still be here today. To be perfectly honest, I don't know how far I would have been able to make it if I had not changed doctors. And I frankly wish I had done it sooner. I should have done it much sooner, and that's, something I have to live with. But at this point, I get the chance to live with it, so I'll take it. But again, stress can be such a key factor in our lives, and yes, you do need to find ways to manage stress, and yes, you do definitely need to control stress in your life. If there are things that you can wipe out of your life that are causing you stress, then wipe away, get rid of those things, because you do not need that in your life, and it can have adverse effects on your health. However, sometimes those things are much bigger than stress, and sometimes stress leads to these much bigger things. And so don't let it don't let just stress be the answer to your health problems. Ask questions, be firm, and if you're not getting what you need from your healthcare provider, get a second opinion, find a new provider, do what you need to do, and discuss things with your insurance company, again, in case any issues come up where they think you might be doctor shopping. Which that's not always the case with certain specialists. With gastroenterologists, that really wasn't an issue. But I understand. I've worked in insurance, and just knowing from dealing with my own insurance, that's kind of, some of the things you have to look for today, or rather watch out for. But anyway, thank you guys very much for your time, and it was just something that I really wanted to speak out about because it really spoke to me, and it's just such a major thing. I know that I don't want to say that it happens to just women, but I can only speak on the health issues that affect women. I know, and a lot of times women are just told that they need to handle things better, and that it's just stress. And I know that it probably happens to men too, and we don't need that. Your health is very important, and there's people that want you to be healthy, and you want you to be healthy. So again, fight for your health, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and keep an eye out for my video where I do finally discuss my surgery. So thank you, and have a great day. Bye.